evening. I call to order this regular governing board meeting of the Scottsdale Unified School District number 48. For the record, I note that today is Tuesday, May 24th, and the time is 6:00 p.m. Vice President Dr. Hart-Wells, can you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. Hart-Wells. We'll call for a roll call, starting with my far right.
Zach Lindsay.
Patty Beckman.
Libby Hart-Wells.
And I'm Julie Sanowski. We have a quorum with 4 governing board members present. At this time, are there any governing board members who would like to make any changes to our agenda?
Board President Shanowski, I would like to pull consent agenda item L, Arizona On-Track Grant, and consent agenda item M, approval of award of a request for proposal number 23-01-27 strategic planning.
Thank you, Board Member Beckman. I call for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Call for a vote to approve the agenda as amended.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Thank you. At this point, I am going to read our meeting decorum. Citizens attending and or participating in the Scottsdale Unified School District meetings, either in person, virtually, or telephonically, are required to observe the same rules of order and decorum applicable to members of the governing board and staff. Unauthorized remarks or demonstrations from members of the audience, yells, outbursts, and or disruptions are not permitted. Members of the public are not allowed to approach the dais at any time while the governing board meeting is in session without express permission from the governing board president. Understanding that, I'm going to turn this meeting over to Dr. Menzel to begin the best part, the fun part of our meeting, and that is our student and staff recognitions and celebrations.
Good evening, President Sanowski, Vice President Hart-Wells, and members of the governing board. As this is our final governing board meeting of the 2021-22 school year, during which school is in session, we're going to take a fair amount of time this evening to talk about some of the latest and greatest achievements of Scottsdale Unified School District students before we part ways for the summer. And in the case of our seniors, they'll be saying goodbye, but we do hope they'll come back. We're also going to mix things up a little bit and go in reverse order from our usual practice. Some of the seniors have pre-graduation ceremonies to get to this evening, and underclassmen still have final exams to study for. I'd like to begin by inviting Athletic Director Nathan Slater to come to the podium and talk to us about our repeat state championship tennis team. Mr. Slater.
President Sanowski, Vice President Dr. Hart-Wells, members of the board, Dr. Menzel, Ms. Wagner, I'd like to introduce the Division I state championship team from Desert Mountain High School, the girls tennis team from Desert Mountain. Come on up, ladies. The team is joined by Coach Deaver and as well as Dr. Hirsch. We all know Dr. Hirsch. It was yet another very dominating performance by the Desert Mountain girls tennis team. This year they played in 18 competitions and went undefeated again, the 3rd year in a row they went undefeated. In those 18 competitions, they played 148 matches and won 140 of the 148, which is a 95% win rate. They have won 4 of the past 6 state championships, but one of them was the COVID year that we didn't have an actual championship. And also, if you remember last year, they were actually here and had to duck out of the room because of all the chaos. So it's nice to actually be able to recognize you all for your back-to-back state championships and for the past 5 years. According to Coach Deaver, all these athletes work very hard all the time at practice and on the competition of courts. We're so proud of them and very proud of our athletes. So we'd like to congratulate once again the Desert Mountain girls tennis team, Division I state champions. Congratulations, ladies. Way to go.
Congratulations to the Desert Mountain women's tennis team. We're really proud of you and your accomplishments. Continuing with our secondary celebrations, I'd like to invite to the podium Dr. Kim Dodds-Karen, our Director of Teaching and Learning. She'll be standing in for Dr. Sakos this evening, and I understand we have quite a few celebrations, so sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Good evening. He is correct. We have a lot to celebrate this evening. Thank you, Dr. Menzel, and good evening, Governing Board President Sanowski, Vice President Dr. Hartwells, Governing Board members, and Ms. Wagner. We are excited to bring these celebrations of our SUSD high school students to you. Despite the many challenges they have faced over the past 2 years, they have batted them away at every turn with grace and maturity beyond their years that is truly admirable. The students you will meet tonight are recipients of notable local, state, and national prestigious awards. First up, I would like to invite the members of the Coronado High School JAG program, their coordinator, Mrs. Wendy Paez-Gonzalez, and our Coronado principal, Amy Palatucci. JAG, or Jobs for Arizona's Graduates, is a nonprofit 501c3 that partners with school districts, the business community, the public sector, and other nonprofits to support and assure the success of young people to stay in school and acquire the academic, personal, leadership, and vocational skills they will need to be successful upon graduation. Recently, the Coronado JAG program was named Arizona's first runner-up Program of the Year. That's awesome. Additionally, numerous team members received scholarships, including Mia Lugo Romero, Javier Preciado, Jocelyn Benitez Salinas, Fatima Lopez Gutierrez, and Gabriela Williams. Principal Palatucci is going to tell us a little bit more about JAG along with Program Coordinator Wendy Paez.
JAG is just an amazing program, and I absolutely love having Miss Paez here, and her passion really is JAG, so I'm going to ask her to tell us a little bit about the program at Coronado.
Thank you for having us, and thank you for acknowledging our hard work this year. So JAG is a college and career preparation program here at Coronado High School. It is a national program that started in 1979. It was brought to Arizona in 1980. Coronado has the longest standing with 40 years with a JAG program. So this is definitely a Coronado tradition. And we are the only program in the Scottsdale Unified School District. The JAG program interviews students that not only would benefit from it, needs it, and wants it, and that's the thing, is that the students that interview for this program want to change in a positive way, whether it's help with academic intervention, they want to work on service learning, leadership development, or college and career exploration. And once they are accepted and they're interviewed, they go through usually a 2-year course and a follow-up year to ensure that they have successfully transitioned into post-secondary or career. And 36 students that went through the program. They worked on leadership skills, public speaking, ability to problem solve. They know how to do a resume, a cover letter, apply for FAFSA, college, and obviously jobs. And they just went to this competition on April 26th and really knocked everybody out of the water. And I'm really proud to say that. These are a few of my students. This is Xavier Preciado. He won a scholarship, the Ken Smith National Scholarship. And Angela Mancia, she was placed into the competition for employability skills. That means that you have to be able to go into a Fortune 500 company and be able to interview for a job. And then we have Miguel Cisneros Felix, who is our leadership chair, who's done an incredible job. And these two are also Promise Scholarship recipients, which I know we're going to acknowledge later. Our kids are amazing. They come from every walk of life, and they come in with the same goal of improving themselves as human beings. And I'm very proud to say that they have done that, not just through their scholarships and their awards, but just the people that they are when they walk across the stage tomorrow. So thank you for your acknowledgement, and I appreciate the acknowledgement. Yeah, thanks.
I do have some challenge coins. So these are special to honor you for your excellence here in SUSD. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, next I would like to invite Chaparral High School senior Dash Pye to join me at the podium along with his principal, Mr. Dreifert. Thank you. Hi, Dash. Dash, as he is known on campus, is the winner of local, state, and district Daughters of the American Revolution Good Citizen of the Year Award. He will represent Arizona in the DARS National Good Citizenship Competition. This award has been handed out for 85 years to graduating seniors who have undertaken activities in their school and their communities that exemplify outstanding citizenship. There is little doubt that Dash is deserving of this recognition. Principal Dreifert is going to tell us a little bit about Dash.
Good evening. Actually, I'm going to read a letter written by his counselor, Mrs. Leslie Rold, who unfortunately could not be here tonight because of illness. I wanted to be there tonight with Dash Pye, one of the most exceptional students I have ever met. For the Daughters of the American Revolution Good Citizen Essay Contest, Dash had to write an essay in a timed format without knowing the topic until he walked into the room. His essay won the region, the state, and he also was one of 8 students in the country who were named finalists. He wrote an amazing and powerful essay about why high school seniors should be exempt from cleaning their bedrooms. Mrs. Rold's words, not mine. Just kidding. He wrote an amazing essay about what patriotism means to him. At Chaparral High School, he is a top student with a 5.0 GPA and is president of the International Club, which is one of our largest clubs. Dash is so kind. He was a key person when the Afghan refugees arrived and helped welcome each student, raised funds and supplies for all of them, and spent time with them at lunch to help them feel a part of the community. Dash is going to study public affairs and international relations at Princeton University. He is now going to read an excerpt from his award-winning essay. Congratulations.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here today. I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'll just read a short excerpt that I feel really encapsulate what I wanted to say. So while working to support the United States and seeking to improve it as an individual country is an important part of being a good citizen, being a citizen of the world and working towards a more prosperous global community is ultimately what benefits our nation and humanity the most. Through developments of the past, such as the connection of the Eastern and Western hemispheres in the late 15th century, and more recent developments, such as the connection of almost everywhere on Earth by way of the internet, the world has become increasingly interdependent. International relationships drive the majority of world events in this day and age. For example, trade is the driver of economies of almost all nations, and civil wars have expanded into a web of proxy conflicts. Thus, it is only right to look at our nation as a part of this global entity and to look at our actions as having an impact on everything around us. Thank you again for your time, and thank you to all the teachers and administrators who've supported me throughout my past 7 years as a part of the district.
Clearly, the Daughters of the American Revolution made the right choice for its Good Citizen Award. Congratulations, Dash, and please accept this commemorative SUSD recognition coin and best wishes for your career at Princeton University. And don't forget to pack some gloves for your new stay in New Jersey. A few more. Every year, the National Merit Scholarship Foundation, through nationally recognized colleges, universities, and major U.S. corporations, provides scholarships to outstanding graduating seniors nationwide. These students, selected by a committee of college admissions officers and high school counselors, are judged to have the strongest combination of accomplishments, skills, and potential for success in rigorous college studies. Please meet SUSD's 2022 National Merit Scholarship winners. Principals, will you please join your students at the podium? From Arcadia High School with Dr. J, we have William Logue. Hi, William. From Chaparral High School, Grace Dunn. Hi, Grace. From Desert Mountain High School, Bella. Is she here tonight? No. Eric Amcrott. Hi, Eric. And from Saguaro High School, Colin Hutton. Hi, Colin. You're a little taller than your principal. While initially identified by their scores on the preliminary SAT National Merit Scholarship qualifying test when they were juniors, to continue in the competition, they had to complete an application that included identifying the difficulty of subjects they studied while in high school, their academic record, their contributions to school leadership activities and community contributions, and an essay. They are among 7,500 students named National Merit Scholars nationwide and will share $28 million in scholarship awards. Congratulations, SUSD scholars, and please accept these recognition coins to celebrate your many achievements while here in SUSD. And if you wouldn't mind, as you depart from your podium, will you please tell us where you are heading to in the fall? So, come on up. Congratulations. Thank you. And tell us where you're going.
I'm Colin. I'm going to Lawrence University Conservatorium, Wisconsin to study biology and music composition.
Hi, I'm Grace Dunn from Chaparral High School. Next year I'll be attending Columbia University in the city of New York. I'm going to major in financial economics.
Hello, I'm Eric Amcrott from Desert Mountain, and next year I'll be attending UCLA to study business economics.
Hi, I'm William Logue from Arcadia High School. Next year I will be attending Williams College in Williamstown, Massachusetts to study philosophy and mathematics.
Thank you so much. And if you will find your way to those doors, I think there'll be a photo opportunity for you too. Thank you. Congratulations.
Because I think we have more people coming up if we're out there doing a picture.
I have another.
Yeah, so we should wait in here and not go out to the picture. So
Sticking with the theme of scholarship, the governing board and Dr. Menzel, you are quite familiar with the collaborative work of the Coronado, for Coronado and the Future Foundation, SUSD, the Scottsdale Charros, and their foundation, Coronado graduate Robert Flick, and his family's foundation for the Coronado Promise. The work of the unique combination of these local entities is founded on the premise of providing an initial investment and support for Coronado High School graduates to pursue a college education. Principal Amy Palatucci is a stalwart supporter of this effort at the school level, and I'd like to ask her to please return to the podium and tell us a little bit about the process that has led to the Coronado Promise, granting scholarships this month to 25 graduating Coronado Dons. Promise scholars, if you are present, please join her. We also have a former governing board member, Karen Beckvar, who is here and will also be joining us at the podium along with John Aceto, who is the Gear Up grant coach.
I was going to say, I absolutely love my students, and I am blessed to have a phenomenal team of people supporting us as well. So I was going to introduce Karen Beckvar to speak a little bit about the scholarships.
Hi. It's much more fun being on this side of the podium, especially for an event like this. So the Coronado Promise actually began as the first scholarship was awarded in 2019 by the foundation, the Coronado Foundation for the Future. And after Rob Flick's and his wife's donation, he's Coronado High School class of 71. He loved his time here. He made a very major donation, and we teamed up with Charros, the district, the community college, and this year we're awarding 25 $5,000 scholarships, which is enough for a student to get through community college. Our scholarship is geared for students to go to community college or a trade or technical school, and hopefully they can finish at least their associates debt-free. And we're very proud of our 25 students. Would you like John to introduce them?
And while we have 3 of our students present today, I would like you to take a look at the screen, and you will see all of the kids who are unable to be here, not because hopefully they're studying anymore, they're preparing for graduation, but we are so proud that we have 25 students who have received this scholarship. And in honor tonight, I'd like to provide you, oh, thank you, Amy, provide you with recognition coins again. 2 of you will receive 2 tonight. That shows your outstanding leadership here in our district and here at Coronado. We are very proud of you. Okay. Looking. Okay. As we make our way through each school year, we become familiar with certain outstanding students, and our next student certainly falls into this category. For the second time in 3 months, please meet Ava Kassir from Desert Mountain High School's graduating class of 2022. Joining her tonight at the podium is Dr. Lisa Hirsch, her principal. When you first met Ava back in February, it was because she had been named one of 5 students, Arizona students, by State Superintendent Kathy Hoffman to represent the state for U.S. Presidential Scholar Program recognition for her achievements in career and technical education. She is back today because she has since been recognized as one of just 20 distinguished high school seniors in the entire nation in CTE. Unlike the scholarship recipients we have recognized earlier this evening, this program does not offer a financial award. It is one of prestige. Application for the U.S. Presidential Scholars Program is by invitation only. Students chosen as a U.S. Presidential Scholar receive a presidential medallion and are invited to take part in the National Recognition Program in Washington, D.C. next month. But even more significantly, Ava will have the opportunity to make lifelong connections with some of our nation's most distinguished graduating high school seniors. Dr. Hirsch, would you like to say a few words about your outstanding student?
I would. Thank you. Good evening. Thank you for having us. Ava is somebody who I admire mainly because of her incredible confidence. She's humble and confident. She's so confident that when she got the nomination, she looked right at me and she said, I am going to win this. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring back this award for Desert Mountain. And I thought to myself, that's going to be hard because we have a student who won this before. So to win it again from our school, you have to really stand out. And that's what you do. And she's also a very kind and fun and funny young woman who I just feel very connected with because she also does more in the school than kind of meets the eye. We had her go to DECA, the international conference, and I believe that Desert Mountain has never done better than this year, and we are already pretty good. So you've iced the cake. I don't know if anyone can climb higher, but I am so proud of you and so proud to know you. It's Pepperdine?
Yes.
And she'll be going to Pepperdine University, and she'll knock them dead there. So congratulations, Ava.
Thank you, Dr. Hirsch. And now let's hear from the U.S. Presidential Scholar herself, Ava Kassir.
I just wanted to say a big thank you to all my teachers who made this possible. Miss Eamon, my sophomore year criminology teacher, who kind of put me on the path to become in the legal system, the legal field. My 2 marketing teachers, Mr. Norris, the current CTE teacher, and Mr. Nielsen, who kind of developed and mentored all of our seniors this year. Erin Shear, our CTE director, who has been just wonderful in helping all of the DECA students. This year, because of her help and because of the DECA leadership team, everyone was able to go to the international competition free of cost, which was just amazing because a lot of our students wouldn't have been able to make it. I'd like to thank my DECA classmates who had done better than we'd ever done before in DECA. We had 5 international qualifiers, which breaks basically all of our records beforehand. We had 2 teams advance to finals, and then, of course, a thank you to my partner who helped me get 3rd internationally, which has never been done before, like Dr. Hirsch said. A thank you to Dr. Hirsch and the administration for actually writing my letters of recommendation and for selecting me to apply for this award. I don't really have much else to say. We were supposed to make a tweet-length quote for the Presidential Scholars, so I thought I'd share that here. It is today's youth who believe to create a world and prosper to create brighter tomorrows. Believe, challenge, and mentor them because you will make the world a brighter place. Thank you.
Ava, we have no doubt great things are ahead of you, and we'd like you to please accept this recognition coin for your contributions. Yeah, we're proud of you. Our final secondary education celebration tonight is one to introduce exceptional student to you from Arcadia High School. I'd like to introduce Chase On. Chase, will you please join me at the podium with Dr. J. Hi. Chase is originally a Kiva Cougar, having attended kindergarten and 1st grade there. When he returned to SUSD as an Arcadia High School freshman, he plunged into honors, art, and Latin classes. Advanced placement classes started in his sophomore year and have continued each year thereafter. In fact, during his senior year, Chase has successfully managed taking no fewer than 5 AP classes, not to mention Calculus 3 with differential equations and Drawing and Painting 4. And he has taken on these classes while being a key member of the Arcadia Boys Swim and Dive team. Divers always make me nervous. Do they make you nervous? I'm afraid you're going to hurt yourself on that board. Maybe it was me trying to do back dives as a child. In November, Chase contributed key performances in the 200-yard medley, 200-yard IM, and the 100-yard breaststroke events, helping the Titans to a number 12 finish in the Division II AIA Championships. At Arcadia's Senior Awards and Honors Program last week, Chase received the school's Ryan Kloss Swim and Dive Award. He was recognized for graduating in the top 5% of his class, received the award for his participation in Arcadia's National Biology Honors Society, and was a nominee for the Mr. Olympian Award. With his background in nautical pursuits, perhaps we should not be surprised that the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis has been on his sonar for some time. Earlier this spring, he received an appointment to the Academy from the Office of Arizona Congressman. I get so emotional. Arizona Congressman David Schweikert, and will be shipping off to Maryland this summer. Chase is SUSD's sole U.S. Military Academy appointee from the class of 2022. Part of accepting a military academy appointment is a commitment to serve the nation following graduation. Dr. J, would you like to say something about this outstanding student?
I would love to. Good evening, everybody. Chase exemplifies everything it means to be an Arcadia Titan. He's a wonderful leader on campus, a gifted athlete, excels in the classroom, as you could see. There's so much that could be said about him. So we're so proud of his huge accomplishments. He's going to go and change the world. He's going to be fantastic in everything he does, and we're going to miss him in the future for all of his leadership on campus.
Chase, do you have anything you'd like to say? Sure.
Yeah, well, I can't believe I'm standing here right now. It feels like just yesterday
I walked in Arcadia as a freshman. It's surreal. Thank you to all the teachers, all the friends, all the mentors that brought me here today. Yeah, really just one big thank you, and go Navy, beat Army.
Chase, please accept this SUSD recognition coin. We hope it makes its way into your duffel bag to Annapolis and that it brings you happy memories of your SUSD days when you look into your future. Congratulations, Chase, as you advance and for your service to our country. Dr. Menzel, that concludes tonight's secondary education celebrations.
Thank you, Dodds. Karen, I hope you all agree with me that those were worth celebrating. So we appreciate that. And we'll see you back in just a few minutes because I think there's more. But next we'll ask Dr. Hagigat to come and lead us in our elementary celebrations this evening.
This whole flipping it is a challenge in itself. Elementary has a hard time being patient waiting in line. So thank you, Dr. Menzel. Good evening, President Sanowski, Vice President Dr. Hartwells, governing board members, and Ms. Wagoner. In this day and age of computers, laptops, and cell phones, it can be understood if the art of penmanship and handwriting are slowly dwindling away. But there is a national organization, Sander Blosser, that is dedicated to ensuring that despite our many advanced technologies, handwriting remains a relevant means of communication. At our Anasazi and Cochise elementary schools, handwriting skills are emphasized and celebrated. And tonight we are here to celebrate the handwriting development of 3 students, with Anasazi elementary students, Braden Fell and McKenna Vick, teachers Jennifer Emig and Donna Javanit, and their principal, Jen Waldron, join me at the podium, as well as Kennedy Nolan, Cheryl Antol, and Sheila Miller from Cochise Elementary School. Come on up. So all of us probably have received a handwritten letter or note in our lives that made an impact on us because the sender took the time to express themselves to us in pen on paper. But being able to write neatly and legibly is not just about handwriting. Writing is part of being literate and proficient in reading and writing. Add to the spelling, vocabulary, word choice, and more, and you begin to see how handwriting is grounded in all of those basic complementary communication skills that empower us. So we want to congratulate these students, Braden, McKenna, and Kennedy, for being named grade level handwriting winners for Arizona and Sander Blosser's annual National Handwriting Contest. They were chosen to represent their grades. 3rd for Braden, wave. 4th for McKenna. And Kennedy also 4th. 5th. So now we want to make sure that you get celebrated. We know that from among nearly 80,000 public and private school students who participated each year, you were the ones that were selected. So congratulations. Let's give them a nice round of applause. We also want to thank longtime volunteer and retired educator Marilyn Har. Where are you? Wave for us. For her continued contribution and dedication to Anasazi and Cochise students' handwriting instruction. Thank you. And so we are going to give you coins. And they said it had my name, but it didn't. Congratulations. Let's give them a nice round of applause. And you get an opportunity to go that direction for the picture. Now, I would like to invite the following Tanalia K-8 students to the podium along with their social studies teacher, Dr. Paula Slamowitz, and their principal, Dr. Dave Praniski. Talia Campos, Kyla Guzman, and Isabella Miranda, so great to have you here with us to celebrate you. We have known for some time of the existence of the Daughters of the American Revolution organization, but we have learned recently that there is a companion organization called the Sons of the American Revolution as well. Annually, it sponsors local, state, and national Sergeant Moses Adams Memorial Middle School founding documents, brochure design, and writing contests for middle school students. Sergeant Adams fought in the Revolutionary War, and was killed at Valley Forge in 1778. The SAR Middle School contest requires students to design and create a trifold that explains and illustrates the 6 U.S. Foundation documents of the United States: the Articles of Confederation, the Declaration of Independence, the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Federalist Paper, or the Articles of Association of 1774. Brochure designs are judged on their content, creativity, and correctness. These Tanalia 8th graders, Talia, Kyla, and Isabella, ran the table on the SAR Barry Goldwater chapter's brochure contest this year, taking first, second, and third place respectively. They each received awards and cash prizes for their finely illustrated and written brochures, and Talia's brochure has been entered in the state SAR competition. Congratulations on your success, Tanalia Tigers, and please accept these coins as a token of our appreciation. And while I do that, I'll have Dr. Praniski, if you want to come up, along with our teacher, to come up and say a couple of things.
Good evening. It is an awesome day to be a Tanalia Tiger, and first I want to celebrate. We have 3 promoting 8th graders here at the podium from Tanalia heading over to Coronado High School. I want to give credit where credit's due and invite our honors social studies teacher, Dr. Paula Slamowitz, to the podium.
Good evening, Governing Board. Thank you for having us. It's been a challenge this year, knowing that we are dividing, but we made Scottsdale proud. We took first, second, and third, and Tanalia has put Tanalia Middle School, Coronado Complex on the map. And next year, as Tanalia Middle School and Yavapai Elementary School, we are going to take first, second, and third again. Yay.
So we'll have you take your pictures that direction. And finally, we'd like to close today's celebration with some really exciting news of 2 of our elementary schools. And for that, I'd like to invite Dr. Dodds back to the podium. And we also want Coach Johanna Kaiser to join her. Thank you.
Good evening again. Today we celebrate the impressive accomplishments of Navajo Elementary and Laguna Elementary School. They have both been awarded the very prestigious title of Cognia STEM Certified Schools. During the month of May, both schools underwent a rigorous review of their school and were scored in 4 domains: STEM community, STEM learning culture, STEM student experiences, and STEM outcomes. These reviews were the culmination of many years of hard work. Over the past 3 years, the Laguna and Navajo teachers engaged in hours of STEM-focused professional development, organized and attended school STEM events, collaboratively planned and created interdisciplinary STEM learning experiences both during and beyond the school day, engaged in hours of peer observations, and compiled hundreds of artifacts that demonstrate their proficiency in the 16 Cognia STEM standards. The teachers of these two schools have expanded their teaching practices and committed themselves to creating learning experiences for students that are future-focused. Students have experienced interdisciplinary units rich in real-world problem solving. Here are some of the comments made by teachers, students, and parents about being a STEM school that were noted during the Cognia review. Through STEAM, the students' engagement and inquiry have increased. They are excited to learn. I completely changed my teaching style and structure. Students get to choose what they want to do and have control of their learning. Student conversations are deeper and questioning is deeper and richer since we incorporated STEAM. The STEM program has been a godsend for our family. My son loves going to school. The incredible principals of these two schools, Dr. Brooke Williams of Laguna and Mr. Matt Patzlaff of Navajo, navigated their school communities through this 3-year journey, even when faced with uncharted waters of the pandemic. They engaged their parents and community partners in the process and truly created STEM learning communities in their school neighborhoods. Throughout this school year, I've had the privilege as well to see Johanna Kaiser mentor, collaborate, and lead professional development to support these two schools in preparing for this prestigious visit and ultimate recognition. Thank you. Let me first introduce you to Navajo's principal, Matt Patzlaff, who will say a few words and recognize members of the Navajo community who were integral in obtaining this prestigious certification. Mr. Patzlaff.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Dodds, for the introduction. I'd like to recognize some of our team members here tonight. So our assistant principal, Angie Keemley, over here. So in addition to all the hard work of the Navajo teachers have put over the last few years, there's a few staff members in particular are here with us tonight who have done a lot of work on the application. These were leaders in collecting and organizing evidence, authorizing the primary document, and authoring it that was needed for the application. The document is a detailed narrative with artifacts that included our proficiency in the Cognia standards. So the teachers here tonight, Amberly Hester, Brandy Wilson, Julia Maisel. And as you know, it's a really busy time for teachers, so we have a few teachers who aren't able to be with us tonight, but they're an integral part in our leadership team in getting this document together. So Jeanette Young, Dr. Jamie Border, and Lynn Brockdale as well, we'd like to recognize. So Navajo STEAM community partners have also been very pivotal in us achieving this accomplishment, so I'd like to give them a shout out. So I think they're gone now, but Saguaro High School, the Math and Science Academy in particular, Susan Lindbergh and Chris Brandt and the Sisters in STEM program. Our big community partner, Open Arms Church and Scott Stevenson. We do a lot with Tonto Creek Camp and the Pathways to Learning. That's Gavin Rudy and Tom Frackner. The city of Scottsdale, we have a partnership with, in particular Scott Anderson and their Park and Rec and Youth Development Program. The Focus 5 Kennedy Center Arts Integration, Melanie Rick. The Scottsdale Center for the Arts, we have Tammy Hines and Christine Hartthune, and the Scottsdale Charles, of course, Joshua Hayes. I want to give a big shout out to all of the Navajo parents, the PTO, our Dad's Club, for their ongoing support and involvement. And Dr. Dodds mentioned it, but I want to give a really big shout out to Johanna Kaiser and Barb Reinert before her. They've done a lot of work for the school district. In our schools particularly, so Navajo and Laguna, nights, weekends, summer, on times that Johanna's really not on, but she's on. She's helping answer, helping guide us on international phone calls with us to go through that. So a lot of heavy lifting for Johanna behind the scenes. So shout out to Johanna, thank you.
Let me now please introduce you to Dr. Brooke Williams, Laguna's proud principal.
Good evening. So I brought some of my staff as well. Our assistant principal, Miss Chrissy Kelly, is not with us today. She's actually preparing for her son to graduate from Desert Mountain tomorrow. But I brought some of the rest of my leadership team. My leadership team has really been instrumental in writing this application. They took a huge leadership role. They wrote absolutely everything, collected artifacts, and did all of those things. So Like Matt said, a few of my staff members are unable to be here, but the ones that are here are Miss Stephanie Shammy, Miss Abby Bobbitt, Miss Karina Snow, and Miss Debbie Hawkins. And along with them, I'd also like to thank Mr. Brian Vogan, Miss Amy White, Carrie Miller, Sandra Richardson, Stacy Beausoleil, and Taylor Ruffalier. So as you can see, it's a large number of teachers that really took on this process, and they just absolutely ran with it. So thank you. Our other community partners deserve some shout outs as well. They really spent time working with not only our teachers and our staff and our students, but in talking with the representatives from Cognia. So that is Gavin Rudy and Tom Fraker from the Tonto Camp and Pathways to Learning, Melanie Rick from Focus 5 and the Kennedy Center, Tammy Hines and Christine Harthen from Scottsdale Center for the Arts, Jose Leon, our Scottsdale Charros rep, Lonnie Gibson from the city of Scottsdale, who helped us with Parada del Sol, Aaron Adcock, who helps us with Camp Invention, which we have coming up here right at the beginning of June. We have Jane and John Felling. They are from Boxcars and One-Eyed Jacks. They do all of our math integration nights. Gary Shapiro, he's a local realtor and a big Charros and Scottsdale promoter. And then Christian Saniff from Boys and Girls Club right next door to Laguna. Our incredibly supportive PTO and our families, we could not have done this without them. And I am just beyond proud to have watched the transformation at this school, and I cannot wait to see what they do in the future. So thank you.
SUSD is incredibly proud of this combination between Saguaro and the support we've received from the Math and Science Academy, as well as Laguna and Navajo. All three of our schools have earned the Cognia STEM certification, and it is quite a prestigious honor that we are very, very proud of. So congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations to both Navajo and Laguna, and President Sanowski and members of the governing board. While there are other celebrations that we could engage in this evening, that will conclude our celebration of our students for tonight, and we look forward to continue sharing more exciting stories of student success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Menzel, and thank you to all of the students and their support systems, their teachers, and their parents that helped get them here to tonight's recognition. That was fantastic. Very exciting. And now we continue with business. At this moment, we will move to agenda item 4, governing board reports. Colleagues, any reports you'd like to share out? Awesome. Looks like we have Board Member Beckman.
Okay, well, I didn't really have a request. The only, I just want to say how inspired I was by all of our students here tonight. That was pretty fantastic. And I want to keep it short and sweet. I know we have a long night. I don't think, and I've mentioned this publicly, I know I have, that one of the highlights of my entire term has been watching that Coronado Promise scholarship recipient dinner. So if you don't know much about that, please look at what the Coronado Promise Scholarship does for our students. It's pretty fantastic. There's a lot that we've all been doing, so I'm not going to drag this evening out by touching on all of it, but thank you for everyone for all of your hard work, and especially the students. It's fantastic. May you have a great finals week and finish the year proud.
Thank you, Board Member Beckman. Vice President Dr. Hart-Wells.
Is it on? Okay. Thank you, President Sanowski. First, I want to congratulate every teacher, education support professional, administrator who has finished strong this school year, as evidenced by a lot of the good celebrations we had this evening, as well as throughout the entire school year, actually. So yes, as Board Member Beckman had indicated, all of us up here have been very busy trying to get it to as many celebrations and events as we possibly humanly can. So I'm just going to give you a subset of some of them because I want to recognize the teachers and the amount of effort that goes into these kind of culminating performances that are no less than inspiring. I actually think that's not a strong enough word. So since we last spoke, I have been able to attend many of the events, not everything that we've been invited to. And thank you for the invitations. Keep the invitations coming, please, so we know what's going on. And really bear witness to some amazing talents of students and staff, starting with the Desert Mountain High School piano recital. And it was the first time I had heard the Steinway, the grand piano Steinway, and it was absolutely beautiful. And I want to thank Miss Jennifer Moore, who has led that program for many years, and it's exceptional. Arcadia High School dance performance. I have honestly not been to a dance performance at SUSD until that evening, and I was blown away. And thank you to Miss Putty for her. Her credentials are off the chart, by the way. She's a professional dancer. It was just outstanding. Desert Canyon Middle School, which their band and orchestra concert was actually combined with Redfield Elementary School and Desert Canyon Elementary School. And thank you to Miss May. That was an exceptional exercise in herding cats, and it was beautiful, actually. I had the pleasure with President Sinowski, who invited me to take a small part in the AAUW book donation to Pima Elementary School, in which the Scottsdale chapter of that national organization for women donated a book to every student at Pima Elementary School. And I think that's fantastic, and underscores the kind of productive partnerships that this community has with other benevolent organizations that see that investment in education for what it is, which is an intangible, unquantifiable return on investment for our community. Once again, I was able to attend the Desert Mountain IB recognition event, and I just want to thank Ms. Kamka, Ms. Laura Kamka, Mr. Kevin Shea, and Dr. Hirsch for their leadership in that program. And I think anyone who attended can rest easy that those kids are well prepared for their next steps. And I have my own alum of the IB program over there as evidence that that program is outstanding. I promised I wouldn't introduce her, but I don't. Cheyenne Traditional, actually, board member Beckman and I were able to attend their Toastmaster Youth Leadership Speak-Off, and wow, that was amazing. And they did not tackle any kind of light subject. They actually tackled the subject of whether we should have early voting or not. It was a spirited discussion, to say the least. And I want to thank you for the invitation, and was able to attend Ingleside Middle School Band and Orchestra concert, and one of our teachers who has taken that program to new heights in the last 2 years, unfortunately, is leaving the district for other opportunities. But thank you to Miss Marable. I thought that was a lovely and very well attended by the parents and community performance. I don't know if anyone got to see this. It was packed, but the Visions exhibit at the Scottsdale Center for the Performing Arts, in which several Chaparral and Saguaro art students presented exhibits in different mediums, and several won awards, actually. That was outstanding, and I don't know that I have words to express how powerful those exhibits are for outlets, serving as outlets for our students to work through a number of just being a teenager and growing into that young adulthood. So it was wonderful. The Navajo STEAM Showcase, where every student and teacher and administrator needs to be commended, because every student I spoke to, from kinder to 5th grade, was critical thinking was on display, and lots of questions. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I had actually the Mr. Watson, the Maricopa County Superintendent's office, his representative who handles the science curriculum for the county, actually was also in attendance, and we were bragging about how wonderful these kids are, and it's just a big hats off to Principal Podsloff. It was fantastic. I also finished the week at Coronado High School with President Sinowski at the band and orchestra concert for a what a treat. Wow. And I just want to say thank you to Mr. Montgomery, a first-year teacher at Coronado. And as I told him, I will share with you, I hope he has many, many years here at Scottsdale Unified School District. Lastly, I think Mr. Slater has left, but just a congratulations to all of our student athletes that were honored at the district banquet last week for the spring session. However, a big congratulations to actually all of the student athletes throughout the entire school year. I want to close with just a reminder. I've been preparing for my speech tomorrow, so I always look to other kind of more, I think, thought leaders than I consider myself. And one is the only U.S. president who was a K through 12 school teacher, and that was President Johnson, and why we invest in education in the first place, with not just with our time, but with our treasure. And before a graduating class at the University of Michigan, he made a comment about investing in education and why we do that. And is that it sets every young mind free to scan the farthest reaches of thought and imagination. And with that, I want to congratulate all of our SUSD students for a school year well done, and particularly to our graduates. So thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Dr. Hartwells. Some of this will be redundant, but that's okay. I feel like our words are very important to share, especially when it comes to congratulating those that work so hard. To begin with, I'd like to recognize the 92 SUSD employees who either will be retiring after this school year or who have already retired throughout the school year in our district schools of Scottsdale. Dr. Menzel did share in a memo earlier that combined, they contributed a whopping 1,784 years of service to SUSD students, families, and our district public schools. And to me, that is amazing. That is a feat of sacrifice and commitment that I am very appreciative of, and I know many of you are as well. Please know, teachers that are out there, if you hear this or hear it through the grapevine that I shared this, that your impact to our community will be experienced for generations to come. It's not a 1 year at a time and then you're done with that influence. And as a retired individual, take some time to take care of yourself, your families, and to live your life fully. And remember that the prefix re means you get to do it again if you'd like. So know that in SUSD, we always welcomed our retired teachers back into our schools as employees, volunteers, and just cheerleaders of our Scottsdale Unified School District. So thank you to all of the 92 employees. I'd also like to congratulate all of the students who have accomplished, as I see, many great feats and have exemplified perseverance day in and day out. Again, this past school year. Some of the students will be advancing to the next level of their education here in SUSD, and some will be walking across those stages to collect diplomas tomorrow evening. Either way, their voyage continues, and I wish them well. Remember to please display compassion and integrity in everything you do. Don't be afraid to make mistakes and continue to learn, whether it be through your academics or your lived experiences. Like many of us on this Scottsdale School Governing Board, we are immersed in our communities. We are because we care. And we wish the future of SUSD through our students and those families that have supported them the very best. Some of this sampling of opportunities that I've had the privilege to observe and be part of recently in our Scottsdale Unified School District community have been the Cheyenne Evening Under the Stars. That was a community gathering of art and musical performances, and even the recognition of their principal, Strombros, receiving the Maricopa County Superintendent's Exemplary Principals Award. Navajo's reopening event, it seems like months ago, but I don't believe it was that long ago, where they had student showcases and that true sense of community gathering on their campus. Again, the Arcadia dance performance, where over 120 both male and female dancers put on a spectacular performance and proof of the value of authentic assessments. To tour the Kiva rebuild, wow, that community at Kiva is in for a real treat. I'll say that they have endured over 50 years prior to this school being renovated. So thank you, Kiva community, for your patience there. I did have the ability to continue to support my friends on the American Association of University Women, also known as the AAUW Scottsdale branch. They did collect, as Dr. Hart-Wells had mentioned, over 600 books to the Pima Elementary School students, each one getting their own, as well as additional being shared within libraries. The library itself, their book machine, as well as in some classrooms. And I wanted to thank the Pima staff for their very gracious reception at that event. And when we talk about rigor in our schools, I know sometimes teachers get tired of hearing that word rigor because we have tendency to glom onto little catchphrases and they get overused. And rigor was one of those words. However, I can't think of a better term than rigor to describe our IB program and that highway that we are creating in Scottsdale Unified School District between Anasazi, Mountainside, and Desert Mountain High School. It was great to see the students being recognized for their accomplishments in the IB program. I know that it did provide such a really great experience for my own daughter. I know Dr. Hart-Wells' daughter went through the same thing, and I can say it prepared them for the biggest challenges they're ever going to face in college. So that program's exceptional. Did have the opportunity to participate in a discussion, which I hope we have more of these, and I know many of our board members have been part of these kind of think tanks out in our community, including like our Boys and Girls Club of Arizona, and reviewing potential proposals and partnerships in our community. I did have the opportunity for a very inspiring visit to our local mosque community up on Via Linda that included a prayer service, a luncheon, and discussion with their Muslim neighbors. Our district sports banquet, again, that recognizes the excellence of our many great scholars, athletes, and coaches. Our gifted education showcase was incredible last week. And again, going around and asking students the worth of their work and asking them to explain why they chose to do what they did was so inspiring. Please, if you ever have the opportunity to engage our students in those conversations, do so. Last week, we had the Coronado Senior Awards recognition, where Coronado senior graduates are receiving over $1 million in college scholarships. That is something that is commendable. And then this morning, I had the opportunity to be on a Zoom call with Caldwell Bankers Realtors of Scottsdale and Fountain Hills about the success of SUSD and the importance of our realtors and our community in general, supporting our district schools. We have 125 years of proven history, and I'm confident that that will continue. Last week was a Tonalea final K-8 flag ceremony, and it was great music. There was a drum accompanist by Shades Praninsky, and many student recipients of pre-post I-Ready Stretch Growth Awards from their students. And then, as Dr. Hart-Wells mentioned, Mr. Montgomery and his fantastic, I think I counted about 100 students in his band and strings program as he's developing it. My experiences within this community for the past month further support the facts that SUSD is providing great experiences of engaging world-class, future-focused learning for our scholars at all levels. Additionally, it supports the message of how important it is to work with our families as community members, as respected partners, to promote the values of excellence, integrity, empathy, trust, inclusion, and unity. Listen, I continue to get asked about social media posts that portray our district and our community in ill regard. We just listened to over an hour of great excellence. So I want that to be our focus in our community. I ask our community for help to move our district towards excellence and continue to achieve greatness by carefully and honestly reporting information about our students and our employees. They deserve that. Please verify information closest to the source of questionable event and use the art of respectful conversation. Lead by example for our students, no matter how uncomfortable it might be. Our kiddos are watching and they're listening. Our families are the top priority in our community, and we aim to assist our families by supporting them with our meaningful resources that they need. I am going to make note of our gifts that are provided by our district. It exemplifies the partnerships and generosity of our community. As is evident in tonight's governing board agenda, notable gifts continue to arrive from the commendable work of our PTOs, our civic organizations that have been mentioned here tonight. Generous gift from Ernie and Joni Garcia for the shade structure at Hopi, the Ayers Group for painting and graphics at Desert Mountain facility, and our own student clubs and councils for giving back to our community in a variety of ways. And in conclusion, behind every great student experience in SUSD are the many parents, staff, and administrators working diligently to make that magic happen. I do firmly believe we are better together. So thank you to the board members for your support of our district. And Dr. Menzel. It is time for public comment. Thank you. Public comment. We have set aside 30 minutes of our business meeting to hear input about our strengths, accomplishments, and suggestions of solutions for improvement in our district from our community. Each guest will be afforded 2 minutes. I will call your names, and as you approach the podium, please introduce yourself, and then I will also share who is up after you. Up first is Peg Strauss, and then Bert Tveld. Is Peg Strauss here? Okay, well then we will go with Mr. Tveld, and we'll follow with Amy Carney.
My name is Bert Tvelde. As I'm leaving SUSD, I just came here to say thank you. I will preface my thanks by highlighting a few things that I value and valued at SUSD, and I hope to see those grow at our district. Mentoring. Thank you to all my mentors, and thank you to the student mentors at Saguaro who will carry the robotics program to new levels. Professionalism. Thank you, Chris Asmussen, for always leading alongside your staff, for genuinely building on leadership in the classroom. Passion. Thank you, Carrie Kavanaugh first, and many colleagues with you, including my 7th grade lunch bunch. Leslie Sharp, Julie McCullough, E.J. Johnson. You are all so much more than educators. What an honor to work alongside you. Better together. Thank you, Julie Sanowski, Madam President, and Madam President Becky Williams, and all the SEA leaders who stand for students, especially when shameless profiteers came to rob us. The threat is mounting again. No one can sit back and check out. Fortunately, we have community. We are strong when we work together. Leadership. There are too many leaders to mention today, but I want to mention 2. Thank you, Roni Asali, for always being there, and Christine Marsh, who, like no one else, guided me to recognizing what being a teacher means, that we are called to serve well beyond the classroom, where we can truly make the difference for students. Every student and their family, thank you for trusting this district. And for my students, thank you for trusting me when I told you I would not answer your questions. Keep asking them. Thank you all, and particularly those I couldn't mention in 2 minutes, for 14 plus wonderful years of learning.
Amy Carney, then Peg Strauss.
Good evening, Governing Board and Dr. Menzel. I'm Amy Carney, and tomorrow I move up a 4th and 8th grader in SUSD. On tonight's consent agenda, item K is for you to accept the State of Arizona federal government 100-day in-person grant allocation in the amount of $2,422,800, over $2 million. I can't read my writing, sorry. We have seen a huge influx of federal funding come into our school district, and if we're accepting this money, we need to make sure we're putting it towards strengthening our students' academic needs. It's concerning to me that we are once again allocating funds from this grant for the expansion of virtual reality programming and VR classroom supplies. We already allocated a portion of the $29 million we received in ESSER funding to purchasing virtual reality resources, and we are also now asking taxpayers to vote for a special district additional assistance override election on November 8th to pay for even more virtual reality resources. A pre-AP Algebra 1 class at Tonalea are the first students in the state and among the first in the nation to pilot the Prisms of Reality virtual reality math program. I believe Coronado is also now using this program as well. While I'm sure this program is more engaging and fun for students than our traditional math programs, I would like to know how much money our district is really spending on virtual reality curricula that has not been proven to bring up students' math abilities and scores. I hope that you've all reviewed this content and contract and are making sure that this is a good use of all the money we are spending on it. Since SUSD is piloting the virtual reality math program, taxpayers need to understand what it is, what schools and students will be using it, and how much money in total is being spent on it. In reality, only 8% of 10th graders at Coronado High School were considered proficient in math in 2021, and none of our high schools came in over 50%. So I question if virtual reality is the answer for our district's dismal math scores. Thank you.
Peg Strauss.
Greetings to you governing board members and administrators. I would say all your names, but I'm not sure I could pronounce them all. I'm here just to make general comments. I thank you for all your service to our community, and thank you to allow me to speak tonight. My name is Peggy Strauss. I live at 40th Street in Campbell. My children experienced an excellent educational opportunity in Scottsdale. They are now lifted off into their lives, and my grandchildren are receiving the same excellence. I'm a retiree of the school district, having served 30 years, and I am now cheering. That's all I'm doing. I apologize for the fractious and disrespectful abuse that you've taken from some of our fellow citizens in the past couple of years. I thank you for the excellent way that you handled the COVID pandemic. You followed science, you listened to the advice of infectious disease experts, and you kept my grandchildren safe and educated, which also helped keep me safe. I ask that you and the board soon to be elected stay focused on our students, our schools, our buildings, our buses, our teachers and administrators, and our educational curriculum. Speaking of curriculum, please support our educators who teach appropriate literature and social studies, especially as they teach about our country. The United States of America is the best country in the world. Our founders developed models of democracy that are followed by countless nations. But we never were, and we still are not perfect. It is important for us to all learn from our mistakes. We are a work in progress. Best we and our future citizens accept and learn from our true history. I see it like a family. We all do our best, but none of us are perfect. We acknowledge and we learn how to improve. Oh, thank
you.
I have one more sentence. Because I also want to say that same analogy applies to this school district. I've been around long enough to have seen the mistakes that we've made, and we've learned from those, and it still is a top state and national school district. Thank you.
Thank you.
All
All right, that concludes the public comment portion of our governing board meeting tonight. If there are no corrections of misinformation or directions to staff or superintendent, we will continue on our agenda. Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on to superintendent comments. Dr. Menzel.
Thank you, President Sanowski and members of the governing board. My comments will be brief tonight, but first I want to lend my voice to the thank you to all of the SUSD retirees. The average length of service of those who are leaving us was more than 20 years. Covered all aspects of our organization, from administrators to classroom teachers to bus drivers to nutrition service workers. Each one of the individuals made a difference in the lives of the children that we serve, and I'm truly grateful for that and wish each one well in their retirement. Secondly, in terms of celebration, I would like to just acknowledge how much I enjoy attending student performances, whether it's athletic, theater, or music. All of them I find particular joy in. And I just wanted to call out the musical theater production here at Coronado, Once Upon a Mattress. That was the last of the musicals this year, and just a joy to watch our students perform on the stage. It was the first time in 4 years that they've been able to hold one here. And it's a sign that across our district, things are returning to what we consider to be normal, even though we've still had to navigate the pandemic this year. I'd also like to give a shout out to the team at Sequoia. I have never seen quite a production like I saw in Shrek the Musical. I'd like to thank Mr. Tarter and Bernice Sear for their time and tireless efforts to make that possible for our students. I'd also like to give a shout out to Principal Stombris. President Sanowski mentioned her Principal of the Year award. Just one of 10 principals who received that from Superintendent Watson of the 1,200 principals in Maricopa County. Grace has deep ties to Scottsdale. You may not know this, but she was a Kiva Cougar. She graduated from Saguaro, did her student teaching at Chaparral, and was assistant principal there before going to Cheyenne. So outside of a small stint in Texas, she's got deep roots in Scottsdale, and we're very proud of her receiving this recognition. Finally, I'd just like to close on a more serious note this evening. Earlier today, you probably heard about another unfathomable tragedy. The latest reports are 18 students and at least one teacher that were gunned down at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. We don't know all the details, but I do know this: there's no family that should send their kid to school in the morning and not have them come home at night. More than a week ago, there was also a racially motivated killing of individuals at a store in Buffalo. And it reminds us that we're living in troubled times. Hate is real and deadly, and it consumes a disproportionate amount of space in social media and online platforms. And it feels to me important to say something about this. School safety is a top priority for us in Scottsdale. But school safety is about more than just if you see something, say something. That's important, but it's not enough. School resource officers are important, but they're not enough. What's critical for us is to create a culture and climate where every person on our campuses, students and staff alike, feels seen, heard, and valued for who they are. It is about creating and maintaining a culture of care. So tonight, as we think about the year that we've just been through, and by all accounts, this has been more difficult in this school year than last year was, for our administrators, for our teachers, likely for our parents. We're coming to the end of a year that's been very difficult, and tomorrow we will celebrate the end of the school year, and tomorrow night we will celebrate the class of 2022. Those are all very good things, but our work ahead is really significant. We must commit to a culture of care, because that is the only thing that will overcome the darkness that we see in so many other spheres. So I look forward to working with all of you in creating that culture and environment where each person is valued, seen, and heard in Scottsdale.
Thank you very much, Dr. Menzel, for, again, those very meaningful words. Typically, we would have information and discussion items on our agenda. We do not have any this evening on our agenda, so we will move on to 8, our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor to approve the consent agenda as amended, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. There were a couple items pulled from the consent agenda, and we will have an opportunity for some conversation about those items. Board Member Beckman.
Thank you, President Sanowski. The first item I pulled was item L, Arizona On Track Grant. I was hoping our leadership could speak to our summer school program and what this means.
So we've asked Alice Bengola to talk about that grant. She submitted the application to the state and can provide an overview.
Good evening, board members. Dr. Menzel. April 1st was the date of the application. It was right off the heels of spring break, and went to cabinet and said, should we do it? And we said, of course, we don't want to leave any money on the table. So we wrote the grant aiming big. Wrote the grant for 30 teachers, 30 paraprofessionals, 15 buildings, the whole 9 yards. As we know, this year has been very difficult for many of our staff members, and as it happens, we did not get quite 30 teachers to sign up to work the program. The program will start July 11th. It will be right before school starts. The intent of the program is to give kids a little jump start in the school year, get them accustomed and back in the swing of school, review and reinforce some of the things they learned this year, and try to reduce that summer slide. We are right now looking at having Jumpstart in 2 buildings, Anasazi and Hohokam. We just opened up an interest form on Monday. We have about 25 students right now that have signed up for it in 1 day, and we have about 15 teachers that have agreed to work it for the entire program. So we are limited in how many students we can accept, but the teachers that have accepted the assignment are just very excited. We are looping in our Tonto Creek people. They are rewriting a curriculum just for the Jumpstart Academy, so we will have math, reading, and civics, which would be more like being a community member in your school and in your classroom, and rights and responsibilities of everyone that attends the school. Then we will have Tonto Creek, and they will design specific science units that the students will participate in as well. So we're anxious, we're excited for it. We're still accepting if there's a teacher that decides summer isn't what it was meant to be, so we will work and we'll start school back early. So we're hoping to get a few more so that we can have as many students attend the program that would like to attend the program. So what you see as far as the dollar amount, we were, the state has been very gracious, and we were approved for over $400,000 if we had a program that could service approximately 300 students. We will not be there with the amount of staff we have. So we will have it reduced, but they will do that after the second day of student attendance to see how many students attend the program, and then what our new budget and revised budget is.
Okay. I really appreciate that commentary. It's significant to kind of talk when we get these sizable grants. I think our community likes to hear about them and their use. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Did you want to go ahead and discuss?
Okay.
Well,
no, we
can
have to
go
vote
ahead
on
and
this.
vote on this. Okay. At this time, I'm going to ask for a motion that we approve consent agenda item L, Easy on Track Grant.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor to approve L, consent agenda L, Easy on Track Grant, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. Now we will move on to having
Thank you.
a conversation, Board Member Beckman, about the approval of the award to request proposal for number 23-01-27 strategic planning.
Thank you again. We are being asked to approve 4 one-year renewals for $100,000 each. Regardless of whether the entire amount is used or not, we are being asked to approve up to $400,000. First, I think it would have been prudent to wait until the strategic plan was finished before bringing this forward. I believe our vendor consideration should have included a complete strategic plan and process to evaluate. Second, I am not sure why we are attempting to approve all 4 years at once. I believe if we are to move forward, the fiscally responsible action would be to only consider one project or 1 year at a time. I ask the board to consider tabling this until the strategic plan is complete, or at the least, approve only 1 year at a time.
Any board members like to weigh in on that? Vice President Dr. Hurtwells.
Thank you, President Sinowski. I have a question for Ms. Kosher. Ms. Kosher, could you comment on implications if the approach is amended as proposed by Board Member Beckman?
Yes. Board President Sinowski, Vice President Hartwells, the reason we went forward with the RFP is we've reached a point with spending where we needed to either stop, we could continue with the project we have in place right now for the district, but no other spending could happen outside of that, or we had to do an RFP. We were approached by the Coronado learning community as they are rebuilding their community and the focus for this learning community. And so they came forth and said, we appreciate what has happened with the strategic design team and would like to move forward with a similar type plan for the Coronado learning community. Because of other schools using the same vendor, CAM Solutions, we were at a point where we had to say, that's not something that we could do. We couldn't bring her in or another vendor in that same similar capacity, whether it was CAM Solutions or any other vendor, to come in and do a similar project because of the dollar amount that we were at. Coronado wanting to move forward with redefining their learning community and the progress or the future for their community asked that we look at this and put out an RFP so that they could move forward with it. Part of the timing has to do with Coronado wanting to get started with it. They actually wanted to get started with this months ago, and we had to say, you have to be on hold until we can do this RFP process. So the RFP that we did, like all of our other RFPs, was for 1 year with a renewal option for 4 more years. That's something that we bring to the board every single school year to say, do you want to renew these contracts moving forward? So the governing board would have the opportunity if they would like to renew or not renew moving forward with that vendor when we brought that forth next spring. As for the dollar amount, we knew that we reached 100,000. There's a little bit of cushion in there, I think. I don't think that the Coronado learning community would actually spend that much. It's beyond what we spent with the district for the district-wide strategic design. So, but we did want to leave the opportunity, as we know Coronado definitely wanted to use somebody. This is just the vendor that they ended up selecting. But we think there could be other schools, departments. I know the governing board has also used resources outside for their board retreat. So we wanted to leave it open as an option for other schools or departments to have that, the ability to use that vendor in a similar fashion.
Thank you, Shannon. So a few follow-up questions then, just so I can understand the, again, the implications if there were to be a change. So the RFP, did it commit to 4 years?
It's 1 year with a renewal option for 4.
Okay.
So each year would be an option to renew or not.
Okay, is the $100,000 for the school year then?
For the school year, yes.
So if it came up for another renewal, it would be another 100,000?
It would be, I mean, it could potentially be that. We would look to see what our spending has been. The reason we went with 100,000 is because that's where our trend has been. Again, part of the biggest part of that is the district strategic design team. So again, I think 100,000 is on the higher side, but we didn't want to lock ourselves in and then have to come back to the board if we got into a spot where we were spending that much to come back and say, well, we need to increase this again. We could go with a lower dollar amount. We just went with, our trend has been that for the year without using it outside of our main purpose for the district. I don't know. Coronado could be the only community that wants to use it and then we're done. We just wanted to leave we wanted to leave it open for other options if we needed.
So you do anticipate for this school year to spend 100,000?
I don't think we'll spend 100,000. We left it, we put a cushion in there to be on the safe side.
Okay, and when I say this school year, it's showing here
Well, the
next school year.
Yeah, the
right?
22-23 school year.
And that, but the 100,000 estimate was derived from the the expenditures under the district strategic
The
plan, correct?
district,
Which
the
will not
district-wide
be
as well as what another school has utilized.
as well. Okay, so that combined total, but the lion's share of that
Has been the
estimate
district.
is a activity that will not be taking place next fiscal year.
That is correct.
Is there a reason that we couldn't table this? Maybe we could just understand a little bit more. Is there a timing issue?
So,
Can I understand
so
that?
I think the real issue here, twofold. One, Chaparral was the school that used CAM Solutions to support their planning with mission, vision, values work. The Coronado learning community is in the process of reinventing itself as part of our commitment to the Coronado learning community. Several of the leadership, the principals from the Coronado community have been part of our strategic planning process. So they know and understand the value of the facilitated process. They would have liked to have just proceeded the way that Chaparral did, but we ran into a procurement concern because of the dollar amount. So we had to do exactly what Shannon said. To me, it would disadvantage the Coronado learning community if we delay, because there's a lot of work to be done in order to keep the progress moving. We've moved to a standalone middle school. We have Yavapai reopening. The community is serious about the next steps to align its work with the district strategic plan, but to differentiate what's unique and special about the Coronado learning community. The overall proposal for the work related to Coronado, I can't remember the final number, but I thought it was in the $30,000 or $25,000 range. So it's not anywhere close to the $100,000 piece. The consideration was if down the road we have other schools that say, well, I would like to do that too. The finance department and procurement is saying, we can, rather than have to reissue a bid, and to Patty's earlier point, you have someone who's been working with the district, is it an open bid? Well, in this case, it was an open bid. We had two other providers that cost about twice as much. So the RFP was written in a way that would allow us to have that coherence and alignment with facilitated support, not a commitment that we would do it. And I would recommend that we bring forward any new request. So this one we know is the Coronado learning community. I would recommend that we bring forward any new request under this authorization, if given by the board, for board approval before we proceed.
Okay. Thanks. I'm having a little trouble with this thing turned on, sorry. So if that were agreed to, what we would there be a reason to, what you proposed, just to be clear, about bringing to the board each subsequent request? Because right now, the only reality is that we have one high school that did use and consume the service. We have one high school who wishes to do the same. It
Learning
happens
community, not just the high school.
I'm sorry,
Right.
the whole learning community. Thank you for that clarification. That's important. Now we have a second learning community, and it happens to be the learning community that we're in the process of trying to enable restructuring and branding. But there is no other school at the moment that you are aware of. Okay, so would there be any administrative hiccups to just approve one fiscal year and no renewals and the blanket approval?
No, you could just approve for the 1 year, and then we would bring it back as, I think we'd have to do the RFP again moving forward because it would be only for 1 year. But we could move forward with just a 1 year and then decide what you'd like to do after that.
Board Member Beckman.
Board Member Beckman.
First, a couple follow-up questions. In 2017 and 2018, we had continuous improvement plans for all of our schools. Do we check on how much those cost at all? Do we have any idea?
I would have to defer to Dr. Hagegat.
Continuous improvement plans are not at a cost. Those are what the schools provide so that they can continue with their leadership. Now, we have programs that come at a cost that are part of that,
Right.
but the plan itself is not.
But we didn't hire a vendor to support them in their work of developing the continuous improvement plans. They did them on their own.
With their leadership teams
Right.
in the schools. Yes, that's how we do this. This is a different magnitude. This is more along the lines of going with a future focus and really bringing in programs and strategies and really vetting everything that comes before we make any decision, very similar to what we're doing right now at the district level. So it would be very advantageous for the Coronado learning community to continue their work because we're right at that phase 3 that allows us to really broaden and bring things that are really going to support our community as a whole.
Okay, so I want to be clear. I absolutely support working with the Coronado learning community to define their vision as it relates to the strategic plan going forward. That was not my concern in bringing this about. My concern was the dollar amount and approving a vendor with the dollar amount before they finish the work we've already procured them to do. So if I had my way, we would lower the dollar amount and we would do the one, finish the one, which is Coronado, potentially approve that tonight, and it would be revisited by the governing board, having done the strategic plan and reevaluating the process going forward.
Vice President Dr. Hartwells.
Thank you, President Snowski. If we were to do that, it sounds like there would have to be a second RFP, because I'm guessing the RFP that went out had an estimated
We could
budget.
lower the dollar amount. If the governing board says we only want to authorize half, 50,000, we can do that. The RFP is still in place, so that we're covered with that side of it. It would just be the dollar amount that's been approved. So if we were to start to get close to $50,000, if that was what you chose, then we would have to come back to the governing board and say we'd like to increase this amount.
Thank you, Shannon. And thank you, Dr.
I see
Hagegat.
some heads nodding. And I'm not sure what those mean. We'd like to put forth any type of proposal?
Well, from a legal perspective, I want to make sure I get the verbiage right then, and you can all vote on it. I do propose, or I move, that we approve, consent agenda, which is now action item, approval of award of request for proposal for strategic planning for a 1-year $50,000 commitment, and then for subsequent renewals to come before the governing board. Lori, I don't know if that's the right verbiage.
I heard one.
Making a motion
Yep.
to amend
Yep.
the initial proposal, and you propose the amendment is
$50,000 for 1 year.
50,000.
Right.
Second.
All in favor of that motion to amend the initial proposal to include a 1-year $50,000 contract, I guess it would be, expenditure contract. Say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0.
Can I?
Yes, please.
Announce her?
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Miller.
So, thank you, board members, for approving the consent agenda. I would like to announce our new Mojave Middle School principal, Scott Moan, is here this evening, and I want to make sure you all get a chance to see him and welcome on board.
Hey. And thank you for providing that relief of distraction there with this challenging motion here. Okay. Thank you. We have addressed all of the items on our consent agenda, so we will move on to agenda item 9, action item A, approval of guaranteed maximum price, one of 2 for RFQ number 222126. Construction Manager at Risk, CMAR Services for Tavan Elementary School. Mr. Rayler.
Good evening, President Sanowski, Vice President Dr. Hartwells, members of the board, Dr. Menzel. I come here bringing you yet another project for us to do out of the 2016 bond. This one is a small portion of a bigger project that will be happening at Tavon. I don't have a presentation for you, but I do have plenty of information should you need it. This is we actually got this project approved through the City of Phoenix AFP program, which is the annual facilities program, and didn't need permits for this portion of the project. So we were able to accelerate this effort in order to get started on some work, and it's really limited to some renovation work, creating some new spaces for resource teachers, moving things around on the campus so that grade levels are all together. Currently, they have a kindergarten where 4th grade is, and they've got them spread all over the campus. So this work that we're going to start this summer is basically trying to realign everybody, get everybody ready to go for the much bigger work that'll be coming to you later in June, which will include a new building at Tavon, actually 2 new buildings, a art and LRC building, and a new administrative building, because we're converting the current administrative building into preschool classrooms, Panda and preschool. So the bigger project, the more exciting project is, stay tuned, it's coming to you next. But for right now, we're just looking for this smaller project to move forward so we can get this work done this summer.
Thank you, Dennis. Vice President Dr. Hartwells.
Thank you, President Sanowski. Thank you, Mr. Rayler. Just some clarifying questions, in particular for the community that may or may not be reading the action item itself. So we're looking at approximately $1 million estimate, and this is funds that are remaining out of the 2016 bond?
Correct.
And the work that's being proposed here augments or is part of that proposal that's being sketched out for the larger lift at Tavon?
That's correct.
Okay, so this will be a seamless onboard into the bigger project? We're not looking at anything
That is certainly the intent. Core Construction is our contractor. They've done several of our schools. Working on a active campus is one of their specialties. So we fully anticipate that we will move right from this into construction. As you all know, parking and parent queuing is not awesome over there.
Correct.
And for a little while, we're going to make it less not awesome. So that's going to be a little bit of an inconvenience because that admin building is going to be in the front parking, which doesn't hold a lot of spaces. I think there's only 22 spaces in that parking lot, but it will not interrupt the queuing, the parent queuing. That will remain the same pretty much all year. And then we anticipate going into that civil work, all of the parking lot, curbs, fencing, all of that next summer.
Okay, all right. So the students will not be
Yes.
necessarily impacted. Great.
Yes, we hope that they're actually, by the time we're done with this project, that they're actually in a better place because we're going to move some of those resource folks around in a way that they're more accessible and not having to walk all the way across campus.
So you'd anticipate, or is anticipated, assume that materials arrive in a timely manner, that these kind of preliminary onboarding construction would be done by the school year?
Yes,
beginning of the school year?
Yes, we're actually going to be, one of the longer lead items is doors and frames. We're going to be salvaging some doors and frames from the building that we will be demolishing. And this isn't a heavy air conditioning, not like the next item, air conditioning, electrical, things like that. This is really a TI, if you will.
Okay.
Drywall, painting, things like that.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Any other questions? Okay, I have one for you, Dennis. There was a 32-page document from CORE that was sent to us, and I had a question about something that had the red squiggly lines on it, and it's on page 3, I believe, of that core Tavon ES Summer School 2022 renovation. Yes, that's the right document. So you're almost there. There you go. What are those areas outlined there?
So those are showing the areas that the work will be done. So what they did here, this is an old, some of our original drawings that they used, and so they don't show up as well, but they're basically identifying the areas where they'll be working. And the other document that I had up actually more clearly identifies the work that they're doing. So a quick run through. There's the building where currently Gifted and some of the reading resource folks are. That's right up against the parking lot on the south side of the parking lot, but north side of the admin building. That's going to be demolished. We're moving those folks into the library by the time the work's done. This work down here is within the library. There's a computer lab and a couple of storage spaces. We're taking over that space, turning them into resource spaces for the many number of resource teachers that they have over there. We've got a classroom that'll be converted into 2 spaces, a single classroom turning into 2 spaces. So some of those teachers that see fewer kids, maybe 3 kids at a time or 10 kids at a time, we can better utilize a 900 square foot classroom by splitting it into 2. And then back here in the back on the east side, that is currently reading resource, and it's really kind of bizarre. It was something that was subdivided years ago when there was a need, and it actually opened up into a corridor. And so we're going to clean that up, redistribute that space so it's more appropriately used.
Super, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Rayler? All right, seeing none, I ask for a motion to approve the guaranteed maximum price as listed in 9A, all those details.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor to approve 9A, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0. We'll move on to 9B. I believe Mr. Rayler's going to stay up there for the expenditure authorization for early procurement of HVAC equipment. Any questions for Mr. Rayler on this? Vice President Dr. Hart-Wells.
Thank you, President Sinowski. Again, just to confirm, another bond project, which we've
Correct.
already talked about in previous meetings for Pueblo, is the early procurement because of the lag times to receive supplies.
Correct. The lead times are significant for mechanical equipment, anything with any kind of electronics in it. And so as the contractors, and even Core can attest to this, as they're seeing inflation continue on this upward track, we looked at, okay, we could possibly wait. We're actually going to be back in June, but is 2% significant to us? And I would say to you, yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
If it was 5 years ago, I'd say, well, not a big deal. Let's keep it all together. But in this case, if we miss by 2 weeks, a perfect example, we have 2 15-ton units that we're still waiting on for Kiva. Fortunately, one of those 15 is showing up next week. And it's actually going to be 10 days in advance of what they originally promised. But we've heard crickets for the other 2. And so we're hoping that they will continue on their path, deliver when promised, but we know that it's going to be right to the very end. So we're just trying to get ahead of this supply chain issue. And I quite honestly wish it would just all go away because it is a nightmare. It really is. And we hear it from everyone. Everyone that we talk to is having the exact same problems. When you guys start getting a call in the fall because air conditioning's not working, chances are it's because we can't get a part. So it's been rough, and everything out on the street is that it's only going to get worse because China is still locked down.
Okay. So I'll just also underscore the point here. These are materials that would have to be purchased anyway. We're just trying to get ahead of, get it
Absolutely.
earlier in the queue, so to speak.
Yes,
if we can.
absolutely.
Very good. Thank you, Dennis, for all of your good work.
Thank you.
Yes. Board Member Beckman.
And I was going to echo that. Dennis, I really appreciate you getting in front of this. I know what it would mean to our families. For instance, like at Kiva, you said it's down to the wire. If all of a sudden you can't find certain things, and who knows, I know it is still down to the wire, but the fact that you are having the foresight to get in front of this and really attempt to get things in advance, especially for Pueblo, et cetera, means a lot down the line. So appreciate it.
Thank you. I can't take all the credit. We've got some great contractors working for us, and they do a lot of good work for us. So if it wasn't for them really having their ear to the railroad tracks, we'd be in a lot of trouble.
You can take some of that credit.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any more questions? Seeing none, I would ask for a motion to actually approve expenditure authorization, early procurement of HVAC equipment, approval of JOC early procurement HVAC for Pueblo Elementary School.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Rayler. And at this time, board members can propose topics for future consideration. Any future agenda items they'd like to propose? Mr. Lindsay.
Short and sweet, campus security. I asked for it a while ago, so.
Thank you. Noted. Vice President Dr. Hartwells.
Thank you. I know, my understanding is this is slated for next month, one of our 2 upcoming meetings in the summer, but the academic growth metrics. June 14th. Very good. Thank you very much.
Making notes. Any others? Board Member Beckman? No? Okay. And then I have a few too. I understand that our code of conduct update will happen in June too. Super, June 14th, as well as the Wellness Committee report? Yay, okay. And the rest, the others that I have, I'm happy to bring up later on. Okay, dates of upcoming meetings. Next meeting is Tuesday, June 14th at 6 p.m. That will be a special governing board meeting held at the MDA. And followed by that, Tuesday, June 28th at 5 p.m. And that will be a regular governing board meeting at Coronado High School here. At this moment, I ask for a motion to request to adjourn this meeting of the Scottsdale Unified School District Governing Board number 48.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes 4-0. 7:53 p.m.